Well, hey there kids, it's your good buddy Uncle Ben, and it's a well-known fact around these parts that I'm a real-life bass boy. And one of my favorite places to play the old big guitar here is on stage side by side with my good buddy and musical cohort, the amazing Andy Wood. And that's something that I've not gotten to do for a really long time now, but I'm very excited to say that we'll be making our on-stage Andy Wood Trio return to form at the end of this month at the second annual Woodshed Guitar Experience Musical Camp Extravaganza. This year's lineup features Andy Wood, Robin Ford, Brent Mason, the amazing Andy Timmons, Mark Lettieri, Greg Koch, otherwise known as Gregory Cockery, the incredible Laurie Basilio, and our good buddy Tyler Larson, otherwise known as Music Is Win. It's really going to be an amazing experience, and there's still time to sign up, so be sure to head on over to woodshedguitarexperience.com. I'll put a link down there in the video description below there for you, and get all the details and sign up today. Stop the Press's last minute video edition. I just heard word from the Andy Wood crew, and what if I told you guys that I could save you all 200 smackers on your registration fees just by inputting Ben200 at checkout? Why, yes, indeed we can. So be sure to input that code whenever you're signing up for the Woodshed Guitar Experience and get $200 off instantly. And also in the meantime, I've gotten this beautiful Suhr Fretless J Classic bass. They made a bass. They didn't put no frets on it. I'm just slipping and sliding all over this thing. So in today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys about some of my favorite tunes that we play, lead you through some of the trickier sections that I'm trying to navigate sans frets on this thing, and let you guys hear what everything is sounding like, questionable intonation and all. As always, this video is brought to you by my amazing Patreon community over at patreon.com/Ben Eller Guitars, where everybody gets access to all kinds of cool stuff like downloadable tabs, backing tracks, bonus lessons, and so much more, starting at just the low price of $1 a month. So don't delay. Click the Patreon link in the video description below and sign up today. You're cool. So without any further ado, let's get right into some tunes right here and check out the title track off of Andy's last record, Junktown. Fun little ditty in the neighborhood of F sharp. Now, a lot of you guys might already know that I played all the bass tracks and stuff on that entire album, and this is before I played fretless, so I was doing everything on there on a fretted bass, which definitely comes with a certain set of advantages, namely the intonation always being basically spot on anywhere that you fret. As you probably noticed in there, I use those octaves and stuff a lot. And man, on fretless, that was one of the first things that I found was a huge challenge, is keeping octaves in tune. Now you might be able to see here that this is a lined fretless bass right there on the ebony fingerboard that have these maple strips to indicate where it's gonna be basically in tune. But you know, it does take a little bit of finessing and a little bit of using your ear to get everything exactly right. Up next, I want to talk about one of my favorite tunes, which is Imagine Love, which is a really cool kind of Hendrix meets the Beatles meets Andy Timmons kind of song. This is one of my favorite ones to play in a trio. It just has one of those like soul food progressions in there where you know where it's going and the payoff is like, yep, that's exactly what I wanted. It's just a really nice, fun tune to play. Gear-wise for today's video, I'm using this lovely beast right here for all the bass tones. I'm running that into this awesome MXR Bass Chorus Deluxe pedal. I find that just a little bit of chorus and stuff on a fretless bass really helps you hide some questionable intonation. Plus, again, you just get extra, Jocko points for posterity. And I'm running that into my favorite little bass amp that I use all the time right here, the Darkglass AO900. I'm just running that straight into my interface, straight into Logic, and playing along with the tunes. Next tune I want to talk about here is another of my favorites off the Junktown record. This is Forgotten Secrets, which some of you guys might have seen me and Andy do some breakdowns of on regular size guitar on Weekend Wank Shop 218. We broke down some of the most iconic parts of that tune. Now, definitely the hardest part of that to nail is getting the intonation right on those dyads that I play in the pre-chorus. One of my favorite things to do whenever I'm playing bass in that trio setting like that is just to provide some additional harmonic information by not just playing roots, but by playing a root and a flat third on the G string here, if I want it to sound like a minor chord, and like a root and major third, if I want it to sound like a major chord. Just a cool thing you can do just to thicken up a trio sound, especially while a guitar player is soloing or something like that. And this is one of those parts that I'm definitely going to have to practice a lot. I'm still working on getting that intonation exactly right. That's like close enough, but you know, it could be better. But it is really fun just to take these things that I've played a million times on a fretted bass and then suddenly be faced with this challenge like I'm playing it for the first time again. It's worth noting too that this bass is strung with Jim Dunlop flat wound strings. They're a stainless steel string that has been ground down to a super smooth finish so you can't really feel the whines or anything like that on them. It makes the tone a lot fatter and smoother, more like an upright bass, you know? Kind of the classic fretless bass sound. This is actually the first time I've ever put flats on one of my basses, and I love it. They sit in the mix so nice and warm and fat, but they still have like just the right amount of brightness to them. Really fun. They just sound great on a fretless bass. Next up, let's talk about a fan favorite, Beyond the Reef. This is a really cool song. I remember whenever we were kind of fleshing it out and everything for the album, I thought it was really weird. The demo had these like programmed electronic drums that we put in as just kind of a scratch track. It's kind of got this spacey chord progression that sounds like A minor to like an A flat Lydian kind of chord progression. It's really spacey, but Andy wanted to incorporate these like traditional acoustic, you know, folk and bluegrass instruments on it too. So there's a bunch of mandolin playing on the track that he did. The entire time we were working on it, I kept calling it Rednecks in Space because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like a bunch of hillbilly guys like us floating around in space playing bluegrass instruments while the, you know, Crab Nebula shines on in the distance or something like that. Now this tune, just like all the other songs on the record, was recorded on a fretted bass. But as we were tracking it, I was like, man, I wish I had a fretless bass, or at that point knew how to play fretless bass worth a damn, because I think this song just really sounds better with it. There's something about it that makes it sound like spacier, especially with that chorusy kind of bass tone and stuff on there. I think it really suits this tune. And once again, here we have those super tricky octaves, because a lot of the song is just kind of based on long ringing out notes on the bass. And if that intonation's off, the whole thing falls apart. Thank God for a little bit of massage, a little bit of vibrato like that you saw me do. One of my favorite things about playing fretless is you have a completely different kind of vibrato than you do playing a fretted instrument, where we kind of tug the string up and down, you know? On fretless, you can move your fingers side to side and get a really nice vocal sounding vibrato, because as you move the finger towards the headstock, the note goes flat. as you move the note towards the body, it goes sharp. So if you can kind of be like, this is the note in tune, and kind of hover your finger on either side of it, you know, for a little bit of that vibrato sound like that, it's really, really cool. And again, very different from traditional bending vibrato, which only goes sharp. And again, a note in motion is a note in tune. It's part of why vocalists use vibrato so much. It's to hide the fact that the note might not actually be in tune. If the note's always in motion, you can't really tell if the intonation's on or not. It just sounds good. Again, another reason why it's good to use a chorus pedal when you play fretless bass. One of the coolest songs on the Junktown record is Andy's amazing tribute to one of his heroes, Eric Johnson. The song's called Back to Austin, and it's chock-a-block with like so many Eric Johnson isms. It's kind of ridiculous. Andy's like an encyclopedia about everything that EJ does. Although it's funny because, and maybe we should do a video on this. Let me know if you want to see a video on this right here. The way that Andy plays and the way that Eric plays couldn't be more different. Andy is like all alternate picking for everything, right? Whereas Eric Johnson is more of a downwards pick slanting economy picking player. He'll do alternate picking and consecutive downstrokes on adjacent strings, but he's not really a true alternate picking kind of guy. So it's really weird that Andy does like the best Eric Johnson impression of anybody I've ever heard in my entire life, while at the same time doing nothing like what Eric does. Again, I think that'd be a cool video. Let me know if you guys want to see that one. I'll sit down with Andy and we'll kind of give some examples and stuff like that. On the record, I was just trying to play whatever Roscoe Beck would have played if this song was on like Ave Musicom or something, right? Live, I'll spice it up and put a little bit more of my style and stuff into it. There you go, guys. A little look into my new fretless obsession. I'm really, really loving it, even though I'm by no means nailing it. I'm not the next, like, Michael Manring or somebody like that. That is for damn sure. But it really is fun to try. I just love that tone. I love the vibrato and stuff. And again, I love the challenge. You know, it's really easy just to fall asleep behind the wheel when you play bass and just kind of sit there and let the muscle memory do the work for you. I like the fact that this keeps my ears, my eyes, my fingers, it keeps everything engaged and at attention. I'm gonna try to keep at it and maybe start playing this thing live out a little bit and see if I don't completely train wreck everything and lose gigs and stuff like that. Wish me luck on that one. But be sure to let me know in the comment section below if you want to see some more fretless bass action in the near future. Thanks so much for liking this video as well as subscribing to my channel. Be sure to ring the bell for notifications every time I upload a new slice of fried gold, and help support the channel over on that Patreon page, patreon.com/Ben Eller Guitars. You get all kinds of awesome, cool stuff, even just for $1 a month, so sign up today. And don't forget to head over to woodshedguitarexperience.com and book your cabin and stuff like that. It's really gonna be an amazing, amazing time. The lineup of players is ridiculous. So be sure to buy your tickets today and make your own musical memories. I'll see you guys there. I'll be there with bass on. Frets optional. Thanks for watching. Now go play some guitar or bass. Less clicking, more picking.